Well, hello there, darling. Let me ask you something rather peculiar. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to just waltz through life getting exactly what they want, while the rest of us are sitting there wondering if we accidentally signed up for the wrong existence? You know what I mean. There's always that one person who says, "I'm going to get promoted." And boom, 3 weeks later they're sitting in the corner office, while you've been working twice as hard and still can't figure out where you left your car keys this morning. Now, before you start thinking this is going to be one of those frightfully earnest talks about positive thinking where I tell you to smile at your reflection until your face hurts, let me assure you, we're going to have a bit more fun than that. Because the truth is, speaking your reality into existence isn't about pretending everything is peachy when your life feels like yesterday's newspaper. It's about understanding something rather extraordinary that most people completely miss. You see, I know exactly where you are right now. You're probably thinking that all this business about manifesting and speaking things into existence sounds like something your eccentric Aunt Millicent would say after her third sherry at Christmas dinner. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong. There certainly is a lot of woolly thinking floating about on this subject. But here's what I want you to understand. You're already speaking your reality into existence every single day. The question isn't whether it works. The question is whether you're doing it on purpose or by accident. Think about it this way. Every single thing you've ever accomplished started as words in your mind first. That job you got, that person you married, that ridiculous argument you had with your neighbor about the hedge, it all began with thoughts that turned into words, that turned into actions, that turned into reality. The trouble is, most of us are running around speaking complete nonsense into existence without realizing it. You wake up in the morning and immediately start your daily recitation. I'm so tired. I can't afford this. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm terrible at presentations. I'll never find someone who understands me. And then we wonder why our reality looks exactly like our internal soundtrack. It's rather like planting weeds and then being shocked when your garden doesn't produce roses. Now, I can practically hear you thinking, but surely it can't be that simple. And you're absolutely right, it isn't simple at all. Because changing the way you speak about your reality requires something most people find terrifying: taking responsibility for the story you're telling yourself about your life. Here's what the wise ones have understood for centuries. Your subconscious mind is rather like an overly eager personal assistant who takes everything you say literally. Tell it you're broke often enough, and it will move heaven and earth to prove you right. Mention repeatedly that you never catch a break, and it will make sure every opportunity slides right past you like butter off a hot knife. But here's the absolutely delicious part. Once you understand how this works, you can start using it properly. And I'm going to give you a framework that's so ridiculously practical, you'll wonder why no one explained it this way before. First, you must become aware of your current reality-creating language. For the next 3 days, just 3 days, I want you to catch yourself every time you make a statement about your life. Don't try to change anything yet. Just notice. I'm always late. I can't remember names. I'm not good with money. I never have enough time. Write them down if you must, but just observe how often you're inadvertently ordering exactly what you don't want from the universe's rather literal-minded waiter. Second, once you've caught yourself in the act, you can begin what I call reality editing. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending problems don't exist. That would be rather silly. Instead, you're going to start speaking about your life as if you're already becoming the person you want to be. Instead of, "I'm terrible with money," try, "I'm learning to manage money better every day." Instead of, "I never get lucky breaks," experiment with, "I'm becoming more aware of opportunities around me." Notice I'm not suggesting you claim to be wealthy when you're counting pennies, or insist you're surrounded by opportunities when you're feeling stuck. That would be delusion, not transformation. What we're doing is much more sophisticated. We're speaking from the reality of your potential rather than the limitation of your current circumstances. Third, you must understand the difference between hoping and knowing. When you hope something will happen, you're actually reinforcing the idea that it probably won't. But when you speak from a place of knowing, not arrogant certainty, but quiet inner knowing, something entirely different occurs. Instead of saying, "I hope I'll find a better job," try, I'm in the process of finding work that suits me perfectly. Feel the difference? One is wishing. The other is simply describing what's already in motion. Fourth, timing is everything, darling. The most powerful time to speak your new reality is in those moments when your conscious mind is a bit drowsy, first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Your mental defenses are down, and your subconscious is more receptive to new programming. Spend 5 minutes each morning describing your day as if it's already unfolded beautifully, and 5 minutes each evening appreciating what went well and setting intentions for tomorrow. Now, I know some of you practical types are wondering about the mechanics of all this. How exactly does speaking differently change anything concrete? Well, here's the rather wonderful thing. When you change your internal language, you automatically begin to notice different things, make different choices, and take different actions. Tell yourself you're becoming more confident in social situations, and you'll find yourself making eye contact more often, speaking up when you have something valuable to add, and attracting people who appreciate your authentic self. It's not magic, though it can certainly feel magical. It's more like adjusting the lens through which you view your life. Change the lens, and suddenly you start seeing opportunities that were there all along, but were invisible through your old way of looking. Fifth, you must practice what I call evidence collecting. Once you start speaking your new reality, begin noticing any evidence, no matter how small, that supports your new story. Did someone compliment your presentation skills? That's evidence you're becoming more confident. Did you find a $20 bill in an old coat pocket? That's evidence money flows to you in unexpected ways. Your subconscious mind needs proof that your new story is true, and collecting evidence trains it to look for more confirmation. Sixth, surround yourself with people who speak life into their own existence. This might be the most challenging part, because you'll quickly discover that some people are absolutely committed to their story of limitation and will try to convince you to rejoin them in that rather dreary place. You don't need to be rude about it, but you do need to protect your emerging new reality from those who would rather discuss everything that's wrong with the world than everything that's possible. Now, here's where most people stumble. They try this for a week or two, don't see immediate dramatic results, and conclude it doesn't work. But speaking your reality into existence is rather like tending a garden. You don't plant seeds on Monday and expect roses on Wednesday. You water them consistently, trust the process, and remain patient while invisible transformation occurs beneath the surface. The most common mistake is trying to speak million-dollar realities into existence when you haven't yet mastered $10 thinking. Start small, darling. If you're always running late, begin speaking yourself into being someone who arrives with time to spare. If you're constantly losing things, start describing yourself as someone who always knows where their belongings are. Master these smaller realities first, and you'll build the confidence and skill to tackle the larger ones. Remember, you're not trying to convince anyone else of your new reality. That would be exhausting and rather beside the point. You're simply having a new conversation with yourself about who you are and what's possible for your life. And here's what I find absolutely delightful about this process. The people around you will begin responding to you differently, often without knowing why. When you genuinely see yourself as capable and deserving, others begin to see you that way too. Now, I want you to try something right now, before you go about your day. Think of one area of your life where you'd like to see improvement, nothing earth-shattering, just something that would make your daily experience a bit more pleasant. Maybe it's feeling more energetic, or being more organized, or attracting kinder people into your life. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with that area currently, I want you to describe yourself as if you're already becoming the person who has solved that challenge. Speak it out loud if you're somewhere private, or think it clearly if you're not. I am becoming someone who wakes up feeling refreshed and energetic. I am developing systems that keep my life beautifully organized. I naturally attract people who appreciate and support to me. Feel how different that is from your usual internal commentary about these areas. That feeling of expansion, of possibility, that's your signal that you're speaking from your potential rather than your limitation. Here's your homework, and I do hope you'll actually do it rather than just nodding and moving on to the next shiny thing. For the next 7 days, choose 3 statements about your reality that you're going to begin speaking into existence. Write them down, say them morning and evening, and most importantly, begin looking for any evidence that they're becoming true. And here's the rather cheeky part. I want you to come back and tell me what happened. Leave a comment about which statement you chose and any shifts you noticed, no matter how small. Because when you commit publicly to trying something new, you're much more likely to actually follow through. Plus, your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to give this a proper try themselves. Subscribe if you'd like more conversations about creating a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Because we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible when you understand how to work with your mind rather than against it. Remember, darling, you're already speaking your reality into existence every single day. The only question is whether you're doing it consciously and deliberately, or unconsciously and haphazardly. Why not take charge of the conversation? After all, it's your life we're talking about, and you might as well make it an interesting one. Now go forth and speak something wonderful into existence. I'll be right here cheering you on.